Hi, how are you? This is Matt Martin from In the Now LLC, and today I'm going to be walking you through the property repair estimate sheet. Now, this sheet is super important because what it allows us to do is make really quick decisions on whether we're going to move forward with the house or not, or where we're going to come in with our purchase price. So I can't be everywhere at all times. If I can impart a little bit of knowledge on you, and you can simply take this form into any house and repair, get the repair costs of the house. It's just going to allow us to make quicker decisions and just make more informed decisions and hopefully get more deals locked up. So let's walk through it. Okay, so property repair estimate sheet. The top is just basic information. Street address, date, who is doing the inspecting, the city, whether it's a 2-unit, 3-unit, 4-unit, the beds, the baths, the square footage. So now we get to the main part of our repair estimate sheet. On the left, you see the inspection checklist. This is all the repairs. So these are all the specific repairs. You have a yes and a no column. Yes, I have X'd here. If you need a new roof, you put an X. If not, you skip it. Over here is just the repair cost calculations. So these are how much each repair should cost on average. And that's typically including labor and materials. And over on the right is the repair costs that you just put all your numbers in this column and add them up at the end. So in the first part, and I should say that this estimate sheet is designed so you can walk up to a house starting from the outside and then moving in. And it should be a nice, easy flow for you. So from the outside of the house, obviously you look at the roof. Does it need a new roof? If you think maybe it needs a new roof, it probably does. Simply put an X on the yes. You're probably going to be doing it in pen, or if you are a techie and you like the iPad or tablet, you can just punch it in. Come over here, you say, yes, we need a new roof. A standard roof is going to cost about $8,500. A large roof is $10,000. So we're assuming this is a standard roof, $8,500. Gutters. While you're looking at the roof, you look down at the gutters. Does it need new gutters? If you don't know, a lot of times you can look a little bit closer, and if you see little rust spots scattered throughout the gutters, these are areas where water pools and then drips down. So if you see those little rust spots, or if it's raining and you see active dripping from different parts of the gutters, you need new gutters. So move over to the right, $2,000. If there's more than 2 layers, so a lot of times what roofers will do or homeowners will do, if there's a layer already of shingles, comp shingles, they'll just throw another layer on top of it and be good. Rule of thumb is you can't have more than 2 layers. After that, you have to replace it. That'll cost you more, 13 grand. If it's a tile roof, it's going to cost more. A lot of times they don't have the plywood underneath. They just put the tile, like maybe a light paper. And a good way to tell whether there's the plywood underneath is to go in the garage. If it's not sheetrock, and just look up. So if it's tile roof, it's going to be a little bit more. And if there's no plywood underneath, it's definitely going to be a little bit more. Probably around 15 grand if you need both of those. So you also notice over here on the left side there's spaces where you can write notes in here. Just more information is better. Moving down, number 2, exterior paint, siding, stucco. Circle it if it needs it. Typically we're going to do paint on every house. Standard paint job, $4,500. Bigger, $6,000. Siding, if it needs new siding, whole house, $8 grand. Big, it's a multifamily or 3,000 square feet, 14 grand. If you see a lot of rot in the siding, like around the windows or the trim, you're just seeing a lot of rot, make a note of it underneath in this area, and we'll address that later. Typically, it'll come up in the past. So number 3 is windows and front doors. I also have interior doors and the door and floor trim, the molding and the casing. And obviously you're going to have to come back to that, but I just put it all there because it's pretty easy. The house needs all of this: windows, front doors, interior doors, casing, molding. It's gonna be about 8 to 10 grand. Just put 10 grand. It needs all of it. If it specifically only needs a few windows, 400 a window. It needs a front door, $1,000. Trim is $2 a linear foot, so interior base trim. Or if it's a pre-hung door, $100 each. And if it's slider going to the outside, it's typically $1,000. Moving on, garage need repair. Does it need a new garage door with opener? If it does, it's gonna be about $2,000. If it's one of those double garage doors, it actually has two with some sort of support in the middle, $3 grand or more. If it just needs a motor, which typically it won't, that's probably about $500. So we're still on the outside looking at the the landscaping, the yard. If it's a clean yard, like it's really nice landscaping, you just kind of need to clean it up, $1,000. If you need to add sod or plants or especially irrigation, it's going to be more, $5 grand. If you think it's a major landscaping job, like I said, just add it in. Heating or furnaces. Replace a furnace, $5 grand. This heater down here for $500, that's a wall heater. Typically, in small houses or older houses, they'll just have a wall heater. $500 to $750 if you need the AC and heat. $6 grand. Moving down to plumbing. If it's an old house, it's going to need some plumbing. If you need the whole floor needs to be replumbed, $2,500 per floor. If you need a new water heater, $1,000. If you're not sure, but and it needs something, always add $1,000. Always put $1,000 minimum here, because there's always going to be plumbing work, whether we're replacing faucets or new valves need to go in, whatever. Put $1,000. Moving on, electric need repair. New panel, $2,500. So if you ever go on the side of the house and look at the panel, it looks old, it's probably going to need to be replaced. But especially if it's a Zinsco panel, those always need to be replaced. So remember Zinsco, if they have it, it's got to go, $2,500. If you're replacing all the plugs and switches and lights, they look that weird cream color or they're just outdated, $2,500. If you got to rewire the whole house, it's going to be $4,500 per floor. If you're not sure, there's always going to be something at $1,000. It's a nicer house, and we're going to do cans. Typically, we'll do 6 in the living room, 6 in the kitchen. That's $60 each for $720. You'll add the $720 to the right side, and you're going to add that $1,000. Add the $1,000 always here and in the plumbing. Something we need to do. We need to have it there. Moving on, probably the toughest repair to actually estimate is the foundation. So obviously, I'm not a foundation specialist, and I assume you aren't either. So just an easy way to kind of gauge it is if you walk on the house and it's uneven, you're sure it's not the flooring, make a note of it. If it's minor, just put the $5 grand. If it's major and you know it, like there's some major leaning in the house, you see a lot of cracking in the stucco, or if it has the concrete perimeter foundation, and you see horizontal cracks, that's a real bad sign. And I would like you just to add it in this area here. I have down here a hard foundation, 25 to 50 grand. So, don't get too hung up on this one, but just make notes here. And if it's minor, put $5 grand. If it's major, highlight it, star it, whatever. Let us know. Major foundation problem. Okay, moving on. Interior paint, standard $4,500. Okay, if it's bigger, maybe add some more. Just a good thing to note here down below is the wallpaper. A lot of houses that we're seeing, they're having a lot of wallpaper, and believe it or not, it's a nightmare to get that off. So if there's just a little bit of wallpaper, like in the master and a couple bathrooms, add $1,500. If it's major, like there's wallpaper everywhere, all over the kitchen, all over the bedrooms, living room, make a note of it, and add 3,500 bucks. Coming on to the flooring, you know, a typical house, we're going to do carpet and laminate in the whole house. That'll go from 6,000 to 8,000. That's for everything, for install. If you want to get real specific, come to this middle line. And carpet, typically we're running $250 a square foot. Laminate, $3 a square foot, and hardwood $6 a square foot, and that's for everything. Install, the product, all of it. Padding. Moving on, kitchen. Obviously, kitchen and bathrooms are the most important. If it's a single family and it's kind of like a rental, or it's in maybe not the best neighborhood, $5,000. Standard, almost every one we're going to do is going to be $8,000, so just think about $8,000 always. If it's really, really nice house in a really nice part of town, $10,000 to $12,000. Appliances, typically we're going to be about $3,000. If it's high end, oh, I'm not sure what happened there. You know, if it's super high end house, $5,000 plus. We're not doing a whole bunch of those. Moving on to baths. A standard hallway bath is going to be $4,000. A standard master bath is going to be $5,000. And a standard half bath is going to be $2,500. So if there's a hallway bath, a master, and a half, that'll be $11,500 that you would enter, $11,500 into the right. If we're going to need to do some major redesigning, like moving walls or completely replumbing, moving toilets, that's a lot of plumbing work as well. It's a lot of redesign. Just put $7,500, for instance, the master bath. Redesign, $7,500. Moving on to sheetrock. So this is a pretty important one. You know, popcorn in the ceilings. We see a lot of time, which needs to be scraped and textured. Cracks. Typically, we will budget around $3,500 for a house. You know, a standard gut job. If the whole house needs to be sheetrocked, $5,000. But typically, we'll put $3,500. Moving on to dumpsters. Standard house will be $2,000. And that's just, you know, gutting a house that has, you know, the homeowners moved everything out already. And we're just taking out kitchen, cabinets, countertops, flooring, and then gutting the bathrooms. If we're talking about a house that has a whole bunch of crap in it, like a hoarder, or for some reason we're negotiating in the contract that, hey, we'll remove all that crap in the house for you in order to get the deal, you'll need to double this dumpster or triple it. Decks, self-explanatory. If it's bigger than this, add more. Pergola, we're not doing pergolas too much, but if you see it, it needs to be redone, add $3,000. Typically, we'll just remove it. Very important, termite damage. So obviously, back on the side, and I said none of it was dry rot, or maybe you saw instances of some sort of damage. Typically, we're going to look at the pest report if there's not one already done. And if you do have the pest report and we don't have it, just put down what the inspector says it's going to cost. If you're not sure and you don't see any major stuff, always put $1,000, right? Just do it. There's always something comes up. Fence, $2,500 to $5,000. Cleaning is always going to be $750. Staging, $2,500. Insurance, $2,500. Demo, $2,000. If it's going to be a major demo, like I talked about the hoarder house, double it. Permits, $1,000 standard. If there's going to be major add-ons, you can go up to $5,000. Don't worry about that too much. Just make a note of it. 34 is other. You know, if there's other things like the concrete driveway is beat up and needs to be re-poured, just put it there. Make a note of it, and don't put a number to it. Just make a note of it. Okay, so let's just go down here. Miscellaneous repair costs times 5 to 10%. Let's do easy math. It was $100,000. Add $10,000 for a grand total of $110,000 rehab. This is another spot for other. Anything else you think is important to know. Moving down here, after repair value. This is important, okay? This is the number, the value of the house right now, not in 6 months or a year, of what this house fully remodeled to the level of remodel that we do. We think we do pretty good work. What is the house going to be worth when we're done with it? Asking price. Don't worry about this formula here or the repairs or the maximum allowable offer. We'll never get a deal doing after repair value times 70%. Don't worry about it. And then also throw some comps up there if you have them, comps of a finished house. So that just allows us more information so we can make a better decision, quicker decision on moving forward with the house. So basically we need 3 numbers in order to move forward with a deal. The after repair value, the repair costs, and that's going to give us our offer price. So hopefully this was helpful for you. It's just meant to get a rough estimate of repairs, and it allows us to make quicker decisions. So thanks for your time, and let's get some deals. Hi, this is Matt Martin, and today we're going to go through the process of gathering information for probates at the Sonoma County Courthouse. So if you look on the sheet, which I'll send you right here, it has everything you'll need that lays out the process, okay? 1 through 12. But we're going to go over it on this training right here, right now. So the first thing to do is you need to gather some information online before you go down to the county courthouse. So simply copy and paste this into your browser, and it'll take you to this page right here, okay? So first thing you do, online services, recently filed cases. Takes a second to load. Now you come down here to select a case type. The case type we want is all the way at the bottom. It's probate SPR. Click it, and then you're going to do a date range. So let's just do June 1st to June 30th. So basically, whenever I need them from, whether it was May or June or whatever, I'll let you know. You just start from that date and work forward. Okay? So let's search June 1st through June 30th. Alright, so these are all the days. You'll see 6/1, and then it jumps to 6/5, and then to 6/9, 6/10. Well, some of them are weekends, and obviously they don't work on the weekends, so they'll skip days. Sometimes there aren't any cases to be filed, or, it's a holiday or whatever. So, let's just go to 6/10. Click on 6/10. Let's say that was the date to start. Come down here. There's a whole bunch of information. And you're basically looking for anything that says estate of. So if we look on this piece of information right here, estate of Ursel Muriel Kern. Okay? We know that Ursel Muriel Kern is the deceased, and we have a bunch of information that we need to gather. First, we need to gather the case number. This is the most important thing, right? 87989. We need the name, Ursel Muriel Kern. We'll need the date just so you can track, so you know what day you gathered this information. Then we'll also need this name down here. So it'll always have a PE after it. That means they're petitioning for the letters of testament. Don't worry about that. All you need to know is that this will be the most important piece of information that we'll need. So Diane Kern Hamilton is the one that will be making decisions on Ursel Muriel Kern's estate. So basically what we'll do is we'll have a spreadsheet, just a basic Microsoft Excel spreadsheet. We're going to need this number. What I do typically is I'll just copy the name, Control copy. I'll remember this, 87989. We flip over to our Excel spreadsheet. 7989. And I have that. So this spreadsheet has the case number, the deceased name, the address, the city, the state, the zip. We don't have this yet because we have to go down to the county courthouse to get it. And then we have over here the first name, last name, address, city, state, zip. This is of the executor or the administrator, which I told you about. We're going to need to put this down. We'll have their name, but obviously this is the most important piece of information. We'll need their address, which we'll have to get at the county courthouse. And all of these are basically in different columns, so we can easily transfer this information into a mail merge and get the letters out. So, moving back, case number, name. Now we're going to need the first name and last name of the administrator or executor. But on here, they'll have the PE. So Diane, I'll just do Diane Hamilton. First name, Diane. Last name, Hamilton. And then that's all I'll need. So basically, I'll need at least 12 of these before I go to the county courthouse. Okay? And the reason why is you can only get 10 per day, but a lot of times the files aren't available for whatever reason. They're in court, or they're filed away, or whatever. Who knows? So if we're just going to do the next one, we do see the estate of Jose Alejandro Alves Flores. Very long name. But anyways, here's the case number, here's the name, right? The petitioner or the administrator or executor is Jose Cuevas. So we'll need that information too. So we keep doing it. We have another one down here. The number, the name, obviously the date, and then Charlotte Brooks Harrison, deceased. That means DC. And then Harlan Harrison is PE. So 12 of those at least, 15 maybe, and then we can go back to our page, our process page. That basically brings us all the way down to number 7. So you have 12 to 15 of those names into your spreadsheet. And I just bring my computer right in there, my laptop, and I just enter it in. It's just easier, not duplicating my efforts. You go to 3055 Cleveland Avenue in Santa Rosa. That's the Sonoma County Superior Court, Civil and Family Law Courts. You enter the building, go into the probate division, long hall, it's a door on the left. Probate area is you walk through two double doors, go to left. You're going to need to grab these little research papers, which should be on the countertop. You need 12 to 15 of them. The first time you go, just grab a bunch, and the next time you go, have them filled out before you go there. So basically, on the papers, you're going to fill out just those same 4 pieces of information that we talked about: the case number, the deceased name, the date, the actual date that you're there, and you'll have a box to check, a research box, your name, and then your phone number. I've done over 500 of these. They've never called me. They've never said anything, so don't worry about that. Okay, so you go to the probate division, you hand the papers to the clerk, have 2 to 5 on backup. Remember, you can only give them 10 per day. And the clerk's going to punch them in the computer, make sure they're available. If they're all 10 are available, they'll just get them for you. If they're short 2 or 3, just say, hey, I have 2 or 3 extras. Would you mind getting them for me? And be really nice to these people, because, you know, the nicer you are, the more happy they will be to help you. So they're going to go get the reports. They're going to come back with 10, and it's going to be maybe a big file, maybe a little file. It's very important. The first thing that we do is that we find out whether this person has any property. Because if they don't have any property, there's no reason we need to mail anything. They need to have property because we want to buy that property. That's what we're in the business to do. So in order to do that, we need to flip through. Sometimes it's in the middle, sometimes it's toward the back. This page right here. And you'll know because it says DE-111. Now, it's in descending order, so, it'll go 147, 132, and then eventually it'll come down to 111. So if you look on here, it's a little blurry, but you see personal property, 50 grand. Here's the most important thing. 2A, real property. Okay? We come over here and we see $750,000. So they have a house that in their appraisal is worth $750,000. Okay? This 800 grand is just their personal property plus the real property, their estate's worth $800,000. Less encumbrances, that means do they have a mortgage on the property? So they don't have a mortgage on the property. And this is a great situation because they have a house. The executor has the decision on selling a $750,000 house with no mortgage on it. So if there is real property, great. The page before this, on the very bottom, will have the address. So if you do see the address, add it in, and we're in business. The next piece of information we'll need to find Diane Hamilton. And sometimes it's hard to find their address, city, state, and zip because they can be in multiple different places. But we really need their address, city, state, and zip because that's going to be the key to possibly getting this house. Sometimes there will be two administrators or executors, and we'll need both of their addresses. So going back to Ursel Muriel Kern, if we go back to this piece of paper here, and where it says real property, there's actually no property, well then it's worthless to us, and basically we can just move on to the next case number and get the next piece of information. I don't want you to delete it. Just leave it blank when you send it back to me. That way I know that there was no property attached to this person, this deceased person. So that should be everything you need. It'll take a little bit of time to get oriented to the cases, but that should be everything you need. Okay? Thanks for your time. Let's go get some deals.